Howdy there, fellers, and welcome to my Hellgate review video, since everyone was clearly asking for it. So go ahead and enjoy the content in the background while I lay out my points in this presentation. I hope you enjoy and can take away something from this video. Also, I invite you to give your own opinions in the comment section, as it helps to build a better environment to aid Albion Online. Now that the dust has settled in the Hellgate world, we have a good, comprehensive view of what the new Hellgates ended up being, and we can jump in and highlight the pros and cons of the new Hellgate system versus the old one. So let's lay out these pros and cons and expand upon them right after. Obviously these points are opinionated and are open to discussion. Some of these topics I consider a double-edged sword, so I'll list them under both good and bad. Our new Hellgate system provided an IP system, it provided new maps, it provided an infamy system, and it provided a new 10v10 Hellgate environment. In our old Hellgate system, open world PvP at Hellgates was entirely removed, free exiting from Hellgates was entirely removed, high risk gear crutching was reduced to the point where I consider it removed, and randomized instancing was also removed, given that matchmaking based upon infamy was introduced. The new IP system that was introduced is a double-edged sword because of the harsh diminishing returns that was applied to the IP soft cap. While this new IP system prevents players from running flat 4 gear into 5s, 10s, and 2s, which is good, that's necessary. What is unnecessary is the harsh diminishing returns that prevents players from running any higher gear than what's capped. So in 2s you can run higher than T6 gear, but your IP is so far diminished that it's not worth it. You're literally wasting your time in silver to buy anything better than tier 6 equipment. In my opinion, anything above a 50% diminishing return on top of the IP cap is too punitive for a sandbox PvP game. I know it, you know it, even DJ Lewpac knows it. Check him out. For comparison, old Hellgate's diminishing returns at the IP cap was 50%, which is the same as Corrupted Dungeons at this moment. In my personal opinion, I would go as far as to say that anything above 50% diminishing returns is poor game design for a full loot sandbox PvP game. To take away from this, my main point is let the players decide what they want to risk. Don't punish them for bringing more. Infamy is a cool number to gauge your progression through Hellgates, but I do not consider it a matchmaking rating. This is because mobs in a lot of circumstances will give more infamy than players do, especially at lower levels of Hellgates for new players. There shouldn't be a matchmaking system in Hellgates. This breaks the immersion of the open world. I should feel like I'm exploring new areas of Hellgates and meeting new players, but this feeling is disconnected the moment I match the same players over and over and over in both 2s, 5s, and even 10s. Although in 10s it's a bit more understandable for this repeated matching against the same players because of the smaller pool of players that play 10s, as well as the larger player requirement of 10 players. But matching the same team back to back in 5s and 2s is strictly because of a non-randomized experience. This also makes the meta stale because you never get to see those wacky experimental new player builds, and sometimes they work and they're funny to watch. Talking specifically about 2v2s, the only place I feel that free exiting could be properly applied is in 2v2s. This is because of how small scale the interactions are. If free exiting was applied, the environment should include something to contest for loot and fame in the middle of the map, and have something as basic as a crystal system in 2s introduced so that there are some further mechanics to leave the Hellgate right over just channeling a portal to leave, which was what we had before. My personal biggest disappointment with the new Hellgate system is that Hellgate maps are not static locations, which means there is little to no PvP at the Hellgate entrances, unlike before with our previous Hellgate system. The number one thing I like about the Hellgate rework is 10v10s. I feel like the new Hellgate system was built with the focus in mind being 10v10s, which may or may not be true. Also, you're not going to get any better loot or fame anywhere else in the game outside of 10v10s. Objectively speaking, old Hellgates were better when it comes to the 2v2 Hellgates, but 5v5 Hellgates were generally improved given that combat is much more common than the rats and empty gates that you would get before. Overall, I believe the Hellgate overhaul was an improvement to the Hellgate system itself, but certain restrictions applied to that prevent the content from being good as it ever could be. To give myself some credibility, if you don't know me, I'm a degenerate who has unironically played over 1,000 hours of Hellgates, which means I know my shit, given that this is still my opinion, obviously. Anyways, that's how I feel about the current Hellgate changes. I'd appreciate any subs, likes, comments, and any tips you guys can give me to help improve my current content. Thank you guys very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.